Fantastic. Welcome, everyone.
Wow, look at that. How fancy is that?
That's the big debut of the new intro. I hope you guys liked it. Thank you so much, Jason, for putting that together. I know you slaved like a beast on it. So welcome,
Yeah,
yes.
well, it certainly isn't the shortest video that I've made, but then again, the graphics website that I normally use is Spat the Dummy and has a gigantic bug in it. So the last time this happened was over a year ago, and it took them 2 weeks to fix it. So I had to do like everything like manually. But when
Well, I
you know, it's like one of those modern machines when it's like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. You don't need any experience. You just click. But yeah, I had
well,
to
you
have
got it.
experience.
You nailed it.
We
A
got there.
lot of nice comments here. People like the like Big Dog 780. He's yeah, nice to see you, Terrence. Oh, you're on the show. All right. So Jason, how are you doing? How are things in Vietnam?
It's nice. It's actually 8 o'clock in the morning here, so it's nice and cool. Around 10 o'clock, it'll 10 or 11 o'clock, it'll start becoming unbearable. So I've decided to work overnight these days instead of during the daytime. It's just way too hot, and the heat, the heat. I mean, it's good for a sauna, but it's nice and comfortable in the middle of the night when it's cool. So aside from that, everything's all good here.
Well, things are definitely a gong show here. There's still a lot of weird stuff happening here in Canada. But yeah, surprise, surprise. So the Chinese interference in the election, the guy that Justin Trudeau handpicked, didn't find him guilty of any kind of scandal. Ooh, surprise, surprise. So
Yeah, well, it's the same thing with the Russia collusion, Russia, all that kind of stuff. Although, technically speaking, probably China had a lot more influence than Russia, and China does basically own the US because of the trade deficit. You know,
they basically,
all those countries have borrowed money from China, and they owe China money. So, because of that, China wants its land, or China wants its property in the said US or something like that. So if that's the
mhm,
case in Canada, then yeah, they're gonna have to pay China back by giving them land. That's the main thing they want.
mhm. So, moving on to tonight's show, we have a very special guest. We have Granny Margaret MacKay from Alberta. She is in the background. Um, well, we'll just bring her up here. Granny Margaret MacKay here without further ado. Hello
Hello.
and welcome. It's nice to have you on the show here tonight. I'm really glad you came.
Well, thank you for having me.
Hello, Granny. I like using that word. It reminds me of my gran. I haven't called Granny, and I haven't called anyone Granny for a long time. So it's nice to call someone Granny again.
Yeah, I started using it a few years ago, and now over the past 3 years, it's really stuck. So,
Do they call
Definitely
you
did.
Granny or Granny Margaret?
uh, lots of people just Granny.
That's cool. I like that. I like that. It's warm. It's like a hug, right? Being called
Yeah,
something like, you know.
and the little trolls online, they leave me alone for the best part. It's pretty hard attacking somebody that's got Granny in their name, so it works that way.
Whereas I did the opposite. I went with the word convoy, but I still don't get a lot of trolls, which I'm
Yeah,
actually really,
well, that's
really
I'm
grateful
glad to
for.
hear that.
I could probably knock on wood right now.
Yeah.
Just not invite that kind of hassle.
Mhm.
Oh, someone said Granny
Surprisingly,
Hottie.
I don't get many trolls either, which is really surprising, considering my Facebook group and all that. Although I got trolled the other day on, I think it was Freedom War Room Facebook group. I got trolled the other day, and they always seem to have the name Morty or Morton. Myra Mortal, she was a troll in our Facebook group, and the New Zealand Truckers Convoy 2022 Freedom. And then I got trolled again on the War Room Facebook group, and a guy called Morton. So I don't know if these trolls are always all using the same name.
It's probably just one person.
It could be. Um,
So
Now, the hot
Granny,
topic for today is
yeah.
the political prisoners of COVID. Now, we do know that it's in a different place. So, what's the background on this, Rosie?
Well, there are four guys that were part of the Coutts Blockade in Alberta the main original convoy was in Ottawa, and these four gentlemen have been charged with some pretty hefty charges, and they've spent the last, was it 490?
465, 67 ish.
465 days in jail now with no kind of bail or anything. So Granny Margaret MacKay, sorry. You've got the Facebook group, Alberta Political Prisoners.
Yes. I actually started that back when the pastors were being arrested. And then when the four men came into play, then I really started building it, because nobody knew they were in jail. And so I thought we need to get the awareness out there. Tens of thousands of people were part of the convoy and the Coutts demonstration, but they don't know these four men are in jail. So yeah, we had a guest on last week from Australia, and she said she was actually surprised that the world doesn't know about it. So that's why we thought that we would bring you on and invite you to come along and share, what's happening. And it's been a slow plug, but the thing is, everybody just needs to hit the share button. Even the viewers that are watching tonight, go to the page, read some of the letters from the men, from Jerry's wife, and just start sharing the page or sharing stories. But get people to realize that these men are still in there. They need support. Their mental health, they've received 600 some letters to date. Those letters have been a lifeline, and we need to keep that going, because they're not getting out anytime soon.
Yeah, what are the charges exactly? Are they all the same for all four men?
All four of them. There might be some other little charges, but it's conspiracy to murder RCMP officers. It's a bad charge, but you have to remember, it's words on paper. It's a thought crime, and it's been 465 plus days, no trial, no pre-trial, and now the trial was supposed to be going forward June 12th. It has now been set till early part of 2024. So we'll be looking at 2 years. And
so so they're in prison under the what do you call it? It's not a charge, because they haven't been formally charged, have they?
Well, they've been formally charged.
Okay.
But they just have not been processed.
They've not appeared in court.
They've
not processed the court case yet.
Yeah, they've been kept inside, and it's a remand jail. It's not a jail. It's a remand jail. It's a holding place where you're supposed to go in and transition out when you get your trial and your bail and everything kind of set up. But they're not letting these guys out because of what they're calling public hesitancy towards the justice system of Alberta. I'm thinking public opinion right now is going the other direction. The public is not trusting the justice system. And so we just got to keep raising awareness. June 12th, there's still going to be something on in the Lethbridge courthouse. The four men, as far as I know, are supposed to appear because they're in 3 different remand jails. But it will be a locked courtroom, no public going in, no online presence. And it is to challenge, it's called, preliminary applications to challenge the wiretaps and the search warrants, etc. So that goes on June 12th.
So no public, so no family members, nobody can come in to show their any kind of support. It's just
Jerry's wife is she's trying to see if she can get in to watch. She has not seen her husband since May or June of last year. She's not allowed to go visit him. She can talk to him on the phone, but when she went to find out why Jerry had been arrested, they asked her to take a seat, and then 2 officers came out and arrested her and charged her with some charges. So when Jerry was going through his bail hearing, the judge said, I will not keep a husband and wife apart. So she's allowed to go to the remand. She can go visit her husband. It's the remand of Calgary remand that's refusing her entry and will not allow her to go see her husband.
So even though she's allowed to go see him,
yeah, allowed, yeah,
they're refusing letting her go. That's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. It's been a hard plug. When I finally found these men, the families were scared. The men were confused. They thought they were going in for 1 night or 2 nights with a mischief charge. And then all of a sudden, they're being told that they're being charged with conspiracy to murder RCMP officers, and their whole world started flipping upside down. Their families were confused. The men are confused. Nobody can understand what's going on. And then a week goes by and a month goes by. And you can only imagine what's going on with them. Like, they're so confused and they're scared. They don't know who to trust. The lawyers have been an absolute nightmare at the start, just unbelievably craziness. Lawyers were being fired. Lawyers were quitting. Then money's disappearing from money that was, deposited into lawyers' accounts. And it's been hard on them. And then when I found them, I started sharing on Alberta Political Prisoners page. The family didn't know who I was because I'd never met them. I did not know who they were. I finally found their names. The families started reaching out to me slowly. And then there was some fundraising done and some money disappeared. So then I stepped up and I said, I will fundraise for you. I will run the Give, Send, Go. I'll be an open book. You can see the accounts. You can see everything that's going on. They've come to trust me. I speak with the men regularly. I'm in touch with the families all the time. In fact, Tony's mom's 80th birthday is this weekend. Tony is an only child. His father passed away 5-6 years ago. So it's just him and his mom. And he is planning a birthday party for his mom's 80th birthday from the remand jail. So it's been hard on them, and there's 7 children in this scenario too. So those 7 children, 2 of the fathers were single fathers. 2 of the men were single fathers. So it's been extremely hard on them. So I've been helping them raise money. I've raised $160,000+ to date. That's divided by 4 men and their families. It goes to whatever they need it to and covers legal costs. A lot of people hate seeing the money going to lawyers, but they're caught up in a legal nightmare. Like, they are literally living the Canadian nightmare. And how do you beat this? Many people come up with different scenarios of what we can do. But until your loved one is facing 25 to 40 years in jail, you don't understand how scary this is. It's easy for people to tell these families what to do, but they're just normal, ordinary people. They do not know. A couple of, maybe even 3 of these guys have never even had a speeding ticket before. So they do not understand legal jargon. They don't understand. It's all a nightmare to them. So
a very, very long, drawn out nightmare.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's a form of torture. I don't know if you've heard of what's it called? Dead time. Dead time is actually a form of torture. It's when you do not understand or know when your date is that you are going to be released. So you are just hanging there. And it is a mental, psychological form of torture. Tony has a pen and a Bible, and he gets to use the phone. There's no hobby room. There's no nothing because it's a remand center. Jerry can do some crafts. Chris, they've got a craft room. But Tony's got a pen, so he's writing a lot of letters. Like, everybody gets a letter from Tony because that's all he's got. So I really do ask the public to mail letters to them. Yeah,
and you can find the addresses on the Facebook page, Alberta Political Prisoners on Facebook. Do you know what? Do you have it pinned to the top of your page? Is the address?
Yeah. Okay. If you go there's a featured tab. If you go to the featured tab and you click on it, then it'll go into all the letters that the man wrote, the letters that Jacqueline's wrote, the addresses, and etc. so it doesn't get lost in the feed, because we all know how that works. Things just disappear.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
they do just disappear. Can I ask a question here? The elephant in the room is, okay, so some people who are watching this video don't know what happened in Coutts. They don't even know where Coutts is. They don't even know what Coutts is.
Yeah.
So can we get some background as to what happened and how did they get involved in this, and what led them to being stuck in remand?
I'll tell you what I can. I'm just going to say I never ask about details of the actual court or anything, or like to do with the legal stuff, because it's really none of my business. 4 men deserve to be put in a courtroom and explain their side of the story. So now let's back up to January 29th. It's a border crossing. It's Coutts goes into the United States. So it's an American-Canadian border crossing. So when the convoy was going to Ottawa, a bunch of Albertans started getting their trucks and everything, and everybody was taking off down to the border, down by Coutts. And Coutts is right on the border. Like, I mean, the fence, there's a little rope, and there's the United States and Canada. And everybody started going down there. Tony was with his friends. He was in a gravel truck. Chris, they were in a pickup and a trailer, and the other Chris had a pickup. Jerry was hardly there. He was at Milk River for a couple of days, and he was for a few hours down at Coutts. He was working, so he was hardly there. So then fast forward, so January 29th. And the reason I bring up January 29th and that the 3 men were there on day 1 is there is an officer, Margaret MacKay, who did a press release around the 14th of February. And this is after the men were charged. And she said that the 4 of them came in separate to the demonstration, the Coutts demonstration. Well, how did they come in separate when they were there from day 1? And there's proof, there's pictures, there's videos. Tony has an Instagram account. It's got all his videos on there. And 10 minutes before he was arrested, he actually said, I wish the officers would put their guns down and come have coffee with us. And then 10 minutes later, he was arrested. And all 4 of them were arrested separately on the 13th and the 14th. So from the 29th until the 13th and 14th, Coutts had demonstrators down there. And then the police roadblocked. And so nobody could get in from Milk River is probably, I'm going to guess, maybe 5-10 miles down the road or something like that. And yeah, it is. And so they were primarily in Coutts, these guys, except for Jerry. Jerry was going home, and he was just there a couple days. But then they all got arrested. Jerry was arrested on his way to work. Chris Lysick was arrested first. Then Tony was arrested a couple hours later on the 13th. And then Chris Carbert was arrested, I think, in the middle of the night somewhere, and Jerry on the 14th. And then they've been in jail ever since, remand jail.
Wow, that's intense. That's heavily intense. But looking at this video, it's like we go back to here. So this is actually this article that I've got here on Global News. There's actually an article titled well, this is the day. This is when they're actually starting to begin to remove the people. But look at this weather. Look at the amount of truckies, and look at the weather.
Yeah, they had weather from like freezing cold to where you could wear shorts. Like the weather down there was extreme. It was not like Ottawa. It was just cold.
Yeah, it fluctuated.
So obviously, the Canadians are not necessarily all.
Yeah, I said,
Scottish, at least Scottish, not quite Scottish. We got some Indian brothers there, Indian Canadian brothers.
And this is how determined the Canadians were. The weather was not going to deter them. Like, I was in Ottawa for the convoy, and I'm not kidding. The roads were horrible. It was horrible getting there. And then when we got there, it was like minus 26. It was cold, but life was horrible. And that's what we all need to remember, is where everybody's mindsets were. I'm not saying that these men are perfect, but they deserve to have the day to share their side of the story. All of us were saying things back then. You know, you can take a sound bite and make it sound extreme. I probably have said something that could make me sound extreme, you know, a 61-year-old grandma. So, no.
Yeah, well, you know, obviously, but Rosie was saying something about a weapon struck.
Yeah, because yeah, I had a family member who was part of the blockade there, and I tried to get a hold of him to ask him when he had started his involvement in it, but he was there, and I would get messages from him in the morning. He would go home and work on the weekends, but he'd be there like Monday through Friday, and I'll never forget one morning I messaged him and I asked him, how's it going there? And he said, we're packing up and leaving. And I was devastated because I was like so fired up, you know, the cause is good. The cause is right. They're doing well, you know, with if you followed anything that happened, they got blocked in, tractors went around, and then the cops blocked them on that side. But it was a real David and Goliath kind of situation there. So he told me they're packing up, and I was upset. I asked, well, how come? Why are you guys packing up? And he said, well, there's a truck full of guns and ammunition that has gone missing from, I think it was Ontario or Quebec, out east though. Mm-hmm. And he said, we figure it's headed this way. And so they said their goodbyes, and they actually shook the cops' hands. They lined up in rows, and like sports teams, they shook hands, some people hugged, and there was, everything was amiable. Everything was just fine. And sure enough, you know, I think it was like a day or so after they had packed up and left, suddenly this missing truck full of guns and ammo ended up exactly where they were. And so they saw it coming. And so they packed up and left before they'd all get framed for it. But of course the media was there, you know, to cover this. And they even got the city wrong. They said it was Grand Prairie at first, which is...
Well, a lot of people are saying that's a picture from Grand Prairie, from another... So who knows? There's Roberta MacKay.
Yeah, that's the lady who, she's...
Like I said, whether she was scripted to lie, but the lie came out of her mouth. So she needs to do a retraction as far as I'm concerned. You led the public to believe these four were huddled in a corner somewhere, and they weren't. So her lie was misleading the public. And if I told a lie, I would fix it. So.
Right.
So this is Superintendent Roberta MacKay. So she's the, I don't know, do they call it a charging officer?
Well, she was doing the press releases.
Ah, I see. So she's a presser. But I must say, so this is their it looks like army stuff, doesn't it?
And again, is the picture real or is it not? But until they get into a courtroom, and why won't they let the men out? It's like they don't want the truth to come out.
Let's try and frame this up a little bit. Let me just try and frame this up a bit. Mm-hmm. So we have a situation where everyone has gone. Then this truck turns up. The media is there. So it's all taking place when there are no protesters there.
Yeah, that's not the way I understood it.
Okay.
Because you can see Chris Lysik's videos. You can see Tony's videos. Nobody's gone. They're all still there. It was when the arrest started. The guns were talked about in Ottawa, and Danny Bulford got in front of it. And he's the officer that worked for Trudeau's team there. Oh, I can't even remember what you call it. Anyhow, he was one of his sniper guys. He got ahead of the story, and these so-called guns were stolen, and we were pretty sure they were coming to Ottawa. So, and then all of a sudden, when Danny got in front of it, all of a sudden the guns were found. They went stolen, then they got found. So, yeah. And again, whatever happened.
Can I ask? How did the story of the guns begin? I mean, whose guns were they?
Well, again, until there's a trial, none of us are going to know anything. because
Okay, so it's just a random story. It's just a random
and again, I'm not
bunch of
saying there
guns.
wasn't guns, but
Mm.
until there's a trial, until there's a court date, we are not going to know what the truth is.
Okay, so it hasn't been witnessed by anybody in the blockade themselves. It's only come out in the media and police statement. Is that correct? Is that how I understand it?
Yes.
Ah, sounds like a shifty shift.
And again, there's 4 men that know the truth, but they won't be. They're not allowed to share the truth because they won't let them out into a trial to talk about the truth. So, and again, until they're out, we are not going to know what had happened, because it's their story. It's theirs to share. It's theirs to defend. It's not mine. I am not judge or jury. I am here to share that these 4 men were put in jail conveniently right before the Emergency Act went out. So coincidence? I don't think so.
Technically martyrs, they're being used as martyrs, and they're also being used. But that's the problem with in the mafia, like back in the mafia days, if you made an example of somebody, people listen. But the problem is now that if you do something like that, people don't listen. When it comes to the freedom movement, if you try and make an example of somebody, they don't listen. They don't listen. So there's a point of threatening them. So it ends up starts off as a message. It's a threat. Like, this will happen to you if you keep protesting.
Yeah. Well,
but
and
the problem is, the more they do that, the more they protest.
They're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, not presumed guilty and sentenced. The Canadian government has it right on their website. The federal government has it on their website. They are to have a speedy trial. They are innocent until proven guilty. Well, I'm thinking 465 days is not a speedy trial. They're not innocent until proven guilty. They are being presumed guilty and sentenced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in jail for that amount of time and there's been no word of your court case, I mean, they've got nothing on them. So, I mean, this really is a human rights matter, technically speaking.
And again,
this is a human rights matter.
Like, I keep talking about Danielle Smith and people don't like that, but she's the lady in power right now. And they say, well, she can't do anything because we've got an election. Okay, that's fine. Who's supposed to protect us from the federal government? And who can afford to defend themselves? Can you afford $700 an hour for a lawyer? Like, it is a rich man's game. And if you've got any kind of assets, the lawyers sniff it out and they, so it's a lot of money going to lawyers.
Well, they did that with Billy Takahika here in New Zealand as well. They did exactly the same thing. Although he's been to court, and I'm sure that he's been charged, and now he's sent. Yes, he's been sentenced, but they've got the appeal, and I'm pretty sure on the appeal they're going to reverse it around, because the thing is, all of these arrests are unlawful because COVID was unlawful. The lockdowns was unlawful. I mean, fair enough, a blockade is kind of pretty advantageous.
If COVID had never, and again, go back to COVID. If that comes out that was an elite, all corruption all by itself, and it was illegal, nobody would have been at the Coutts border. Nobody would have been in Ottawa. So none of this would be happening. But because these are not COVID charges, this goes to the federal level. This will never get thrown out because of COVID and its corruption. And it's, this isn't COVID anymore. This is a federal charge. These are literally political prisoners because nobody will talk about it. Nobody. So how do you get help? Who's supposed to help you?
Yeah, very important to keep sharing the message. Go to the Facebook link and invite people. And we've got some people from New Zealand watching right now. So that's Alberta Political Prisoners on Facebook. Go check it out. And I mean, how nice would it be if you guys, any of the Kiwis, sent them letters and let them know that their message is actually.
I was on Laura Lynn, Tyler Thompson show one day, and they started receiving mail from out of the country. That's pretty special. You know, like these men's mental health has to have support. Talk about, people always ask me, what do you write? Talk about your life. Talk about what's going on in your school boards. Talk about, just share what's going on. I even became a candidate in a political party for the election. I'm right there, beside the man, and to get the word out for these men. We've got to get creative, because we're talking to an echo chamber half the time.
Yeah, that's true. We have a comment here. Careful what you say about the C word. YouTube doesn't like it.
Oh yeah, they did strike me the other day. Apparently somebody said it, but you know, I've been saying it a lot, even though I try to avoid it. I've been saying it a lot on all my other vids, but they struck off our Peru video. But when I talked to the lady from Peru, she said that it happens to her all the time. At every time she does an interview, that person's interview gets taken down. So it's really bizarre how it's she says it's always happening to her.
Well, one gentleman's YouTube went down. He did this interview. Now, who was it? His interview had been the same every time, and he brought up the Canadian truckers. Boom, video went down.
So these are the four guys right here.
Yeah, Jerry's got the cowboy hat on. Tony's got the sunglasses on top of his hat, and Chris has got the blue hat, and the other Chris is the larger man with the chain around his neck. Chris, Jerry, Tony, Chris. Yeah, that's Chris Lysick.
Chris, Jerry, Tony, Chris.
And Chris were friends. They've been friends since they were childhood buddies. Jerry really didn't know anybody. You know how you go to rallies, or you maybe go to a prepping class or you know, seminar or something, and you see each other, but you don't know each other. But they really didn't.
Yeah, sure. You mean you're just everybody has their like 6 degrees of freedom. 6 degrees
exactly.
of connectivity.
Hey, there's our channel.
That's you.
Yeah, see, even that got swallowed in the algorithm. I had to get you to tag me in it.
Yes, that was bizarre.
Yep. And then
there's my ballad, Granny Margaret MacKay. Look at Bob. Is this a joke? Who the hell is Granny? I started laughing. Oh, what we will do to get out there so we can get our message out. We got to get creative.
Yeah, there's banners.
So, sorry. Go ahead.
You can order banners and stickers. You get bumper stickers and whatnot.
Yeah. So I started a bumper sticker campaign, and because we don't have
everyone and
mainstream media, we've only got I figured we got millions of vehicles across Canada, so let's put bumper stickers on vehicles, and they're working. A friend of mine was at a red light, and somebody pulled up beside her and said, "What's going on with these 4 men?" So, and I've got it from East Coast to West Coast. There's about 1,100 bumper stickers out there right now. So
that's fantastic.
Gotta get creative.
Got it. Absolutely. It's a nice sure way to do it too.
Yeah.
So we have a question here. Why hasn't the Alberta Premier done anything to help them? Is it because she says her hands are tied, right?
She says she can't. She cannot interfere with the justice system, and I disagree. These 4 men are her citizens.
Yeah.
What's wrong with it? Who is the justice system, legal system, supposed to be accountable to? Who is supposed to say what's a speedy trial? Who's supposed to say, get your butts in gear and have a trial, get it going? If you've got so much evidence, you should have been ready, you know, within a couple months. What are you dragging your feet for? So,
yeah, our guest last week, Monica Smith from Reignite World Freedom, and We Are Ready. She's from Australia. She was put in jail for 22 days, I believe she said, for organizing a C-word protest. And she had no idea about any of this, and so I thought it was really, really good idea to have you on this week. But she said it's punishment by what did she say?
Force?
Punishment by trial process. Yeah, punishment by process.
Punishment by process. That's right. She did.
Yeah, that's it. So like they're just dragging it out, and that's how they're punished. They're already started their sentence.
They don't want that convoy to happen again, and they do not want that Coutts demonstration to happen again. So they're saying, stay in your lane, behave, and you'll be okay.
Yep. I don't think the convoy will happen again anyway. I mean, it's got to be in a different shape because there's since both convoys in New Zealand and at least New Zealand and Canada, there's been a lot of infiltration into the whole system. So now there's a lot of infighting, and so people are left bickering over that instead of worrying about what the government is doing. They're worrying about what each other are doing. Yeah, so if it does happen, there's going to be. If it does happen, there's going to be another motivating factor to get them mobilized again, which won't be it'll be something completely different.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
they're like I said, they're trying to, tell people behave. So
yeah, vive la France. That's all I'm going to say right now. They got it right, and so do the Dutch. Yeah, very proud of what they're doing there too.
So the main thing we're doing with the men right now is raising awareness. Obviously, never underestimate the power of the share button. Just get the information out there. Get into groups. Get into every province. Get into every country. Like I just had a gentleman order bumper stickers from Montana. I just mailed some bumper stickers to Nebraska. Get people realizing what's going on here. Again, I don't even know what it'll do, but the more people that know, at least. And this is how I say it. I saw tens of thousands of people on my way to Ottawa with the convoy. All it takes is 10,000 people at $200 a donation, and we can give these men some freedom and some family support. I feel we owe these men. It could have been one of us. They did nothing different than what all of us did. So I feel like we need to help them. And so we'll do it at $200 a time. Have a coffee date. Everybody put $10 in. Just find a way to help these guys. And because Tony and Chris Carbert have sold all their equipment, their businesses are gone. Chris Lysick, his bank account has been closed. They're not going to renew his mortgage. So like this has destroyed them. And like I said, who's supposed to help them? We're it. We, the people, need to help these 4 men. That was at Pastor Archer's yesterday.
And what's his situation now, too? I understand.
Well, he's been found guilty. He's challenging the court with their decision, but he's been found guilty. And it was said yesterday, the things he said was stand your ground and hold the line. Is why he's facing 10.5 years in jail.
And of course, Pastor Archer, he was arrested for holding services, right?
Yeah,
and for holding services,
and for feeding the homeless,
the C-word pandemic. So no, that's heartbreaking too. Oh, it's overwhelming sometimes. So,
it is.
Granny MacKay, how do you keep your chin up? How do you keep your spirits up?
I'll tell you, there's been days I want to crawl under my bed and not come out. I won't lie. But you know what? I keep thinking of these 4 men. I have a 35-year-old son. And when I first found out about the men, that they were in jail, my heart went to their parents right away. It doesn't matter how old your kids are. They'll always be your boys. And when I found out they were in jail, I thought, oh, these parents, they've just got to have so much heartache. Then I found out there were 7 children. Then I found out a wife hadn't seen her husband. And I'm going, somebody needs to help them. They need a voice. And so I took it on, and I won't stop until I can personally give each one of them a hug. We have to somehow figure this out. And I don't know what that is, but we got to keep talking. We got to keep searching. How do we know there isn't a whistleblower out there? Like we have to have faith, and we have to believe that there's help out there somehow, and we're it. So
keep sharing the message, and at some point it'll land on just the right person.
I agree.
And, just the right ears will hear it, or just the right eyes will see the post that you've shared, and make all the difference in the world. So I really salute you for starting the Facebook group.
Like I said, they could be my kids, and they are my family now. I love their parents. I love Jacqueline is like a daughter to me now. They're my family, and how we come together in strange ways. They're constantly thanking me, and I'm going, you don't need to thank me anymore. Like, honestly, I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do. I'm actually feel like I'm the privileged one. I've been allowed and trusted to be their voice and to be their friend. I'm the one that's honored to do what I'm doing, and I won't stop. So keep going.
I salute you,
Yeah,
Granny.
and that's a really good point. Whistleblowers. That's exactly what you need. You need a whistleblower, someone from the inside who knows this whole thing is a farce, to come out and say something.
Officers are speaking in the background. They don't like what they're seeing. There's guards are going, you guys don't belong in here. Criminals, repeat offenders that keep coming through the revolving door are going, you guys are still in here? Like, what's up with this? Everybody sees it. But when you've got a crown that lies, and when you've got a judge for some reason that's holding them, how do you come up against that? How? Like, this is unprecedented. But okay, so now there's been a light put on to this corrupt justice system. There's guys that are in those jails that have been lost in that system for 2 years to 30 some months. The only reason we know about them is because of these 4. So this system is not a good system. And the food, they're hungry because the food has been cut back. The food that they're being fed, they need more. They like Tony has gut issues. He can't eat gluten and stuff. So his intake is limited. They actually, this is going to sound crazy, they buy food from the canteen, which is junk, but the guys in there don't have money. So they barter for healthier food, because the guys in there, most of them are only in there for a week or days. So they want cheesies or whatever they can get. And they give the guys their hard-boiled eggs and bananas. Like, they're bartering. They even have to buy their salt. They get 4 or 5 packets of sugar for free a day, but they have to buy the packets of salt. What we're learning is crazy.
It's just like the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. Well, Chris Lysick, he's a large man. He went in at about 313 pounds. He's 6'5". He's got a foot that's size 15 wide. Big foot. For the first 11 months that he was in jail, he had blisters because they wouldn't give him a pair of shoes that would fit. He had to cut the toes out of the shoes so his foot could get into the shoe. Like, it's a form of torture. Like, it's shameful.
That's exactly what it is, a form of torture. And like they did with Pili Takahika and Vinnie Eastwood's case, and Monica says, torture, punishment by process. It's a form. It's just because they know they probably can't win in court, so they're doing everything to hurt the person and to drain them of cash and to drain their morale and to drain them of their dignity before it actually hits the court case. So they'll be delaying, because once it goes to court, this whole thing will be blown wide open, and then you'll be able to sue them. You'll be able to sue the police department.
Yeah. It's just, it's sad because Chris Carbert has lost his father. He's lost his brother. He was not allowed to go to their funerals. He was not, he's lost aunts and uncles. I think there's 7 family members he's lost to date. You can't fix that. You've lost, 465 days with your children. How do you repair this? You don't. It's unrepairable. It's It's so disgusting. Money's money. Do not get me wrong. It would be nice for them to have money so they could at least get their business back up and running. But there's things that you can't replace.
Yeah, of course. And they're deliberately draining them of money. That's the whole thing. When you go up against a state, you're going up against an unlimited bank account, which steals everybody's taxes, and then literally has the power to create money.
Yeah.
So they can keep attacking you and attacking you and attacking you, and then like in some countries, like people complain if you try to raise money to do something to help the country, like,
yeah,
oh, he's grifting and all that kind of. But no, you're up against a formidable enemy.
Yeah, that Chris Lysick's bank account was closed. What happened to innocent until proven guilty? So they closed his bank down because of this. They're not going to renew his mortgage because of this. He's innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
But they get away with it because how do you hold anybody accountable anymore? Fancy Socks there is proof. He's made out of Teflon. And pretty much the justice system of Alberta is the same thing. So anybody has any suggestions? And we've got many people that come forward and they're talking about different things. You can walk in, you can self-represent, you can do this, you can do that. They're inside jail. They don't understand what all of this even means. They're facing 25 to 40 years in jail. Who wants to? It's a corrupt system. How are you going to do anything? Even if it would work, will it work? Or are you just going to pee them off even more? So
right. They just want to.
It sounds like. Sorry, Rosie, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say it's just like they just want to break them.
Yeah.
And the people.
And let them play out.
Yeah, psychological operation.
Yeah. So hypothetically, let's say they're innocent. Would you plea out for 10 years? Or would you face 25 to 40 years? It's a hard.
You know what I think? It sounds like a case that you don't need to be worried about getting them off. You need to be pushing to get them into court.
And again, court was supposed to be June 12th.
Yeah.
And now it's unknown 2024.
My God.
Now you got witnesses.
2024, it's only May now.
How? Exactly. So how good are the witness memories going to be? Can you remember February 2022? Like, the whole thing is just insane. And this is our free Canada, our free Alberta.
Wow. We know what the situation there. Same thing with New Zealand. Australia seems to be slowly recovering itself, but New Zealand and Canada are still in the mires yet. Still very, very, very much in a dark place with these communist leaders, these communist parties controlling the country and trying to, assert the nation.
But everybody's so afraid.
Wow.
The fear level. People will not donate to Give, Send, Go. People are scared to do an e-transfer. I've got people mailing me checks. I've got people handing me cash because they're scared to use the system because the bank accounts were frozen. Mm-hmm. So everything is based on fear. Nobody wants to do anything. They're scared.
That's true.
But doing nothing is not an option. I'm sorry. We need to pull our socks up and do something.
Well, you could do something and just sell like overpriced T-shirts at 1,000% markup, and say the cause is going to saving the koalas of the outback of Australia. There's always a creative way around the system, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we'll keep pushing. And like I said, more and more people are coming forward. More and more people are helping. And again, I know they're watching the videos. I know they're watching us. And if you're a whistleblower out there and you've got any kind of a heart, you need to think about these 4 men and you need to step up. You need to find a way to do it because they're out there. They know the truth, but they won't do it.
There's another comment here asking if anyone's contacted Amnesty International
I've heard of that. I don't know much about it. I think I looked into something here. Yeah. I'll have to look into that again. I looked into something and it didn't make sense, but maybe it was a wrong link. I don't even know who that is, but it's worth a try.
From what I understand, Amnesty International is that's what they specialize in, people who are put in jail in different countries. So they get involved.
Okay.
They've got teams of lawyers who get involved. So.
Well, okay, I'll reach out to you just so I can remember that again.
Yeah, for sure. I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Message you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this is quite the case for Amnesty International. Actually, it is quite the case. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull that website up for you. I'm just gonna.
Oh, he's got to do the other thing. Oh, we have somebody else.
Like my mug?
Oh, that is a great mug. You got their mugs on that mug.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody, Canada, you need to know, says he's going to look into that and he'll be in touch.
Thank you.
So when I hear from him, I'll forward it to you.
And this is what it takes. I say, like, we're this large puzzle, and every piece to the puzzle is important. Because think about it. Just visualize this. You've got a puzzle and you take one piece out of the puzzle. What do you stare at? You stare at the one piece that's missing. So
Right.
We're all important. I can do what I can do. And if everybody just does a little bit of something, we can make stuff happen. I know we can. I just got to work together.
That's the point of this little show. And I may as well plug it right now. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and give the video a like too, and a comment. It helps with the algorithms. It does, because otherwise it just gets swallowed up by, you know, our new censorship laws here. Oh, sorry, not censorship for, you know, content creators, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
In our best interest.
Oh, there's the link. Okay, I will send that to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a link there, amnesty.org.en. For some reason, it's not opening on my website. It's not opening on Brave. So I'm going to take a look to see if it opens in Google. But I use Brave for the most part. But let's see if it opens in Google. But it could be a regional thing. As people might already know, I'm living in Vietnam. And we get denied a lot of the international services, even things like ChatGPT. It's not available in this area. Lots of things are not available in this area. And monetizing Rumble videos are not available in this area. Probably monetizing YouTube videos are not available in this area. So it's a real bum deal, I tell you. It's taking ages to open this thing. And again, on amnesty.org, I wonder if that's even the real website. So we'll have a search and make sure that we got the correct, because it says amnesty.org, but
because I know I looked at something and when I read it, it didn't make sense to me. So there might be more, and the dot whatever can make the difference, right? I might have been typing in the wrong one.
Okay, amnesty.eu is working. I'll share this tab and just flip over here. And flip over here, and there you are there. So you need to find the US version of this. This is Amnesty International. Yep, in Europe. So these are the folks that you want to engage with. And yes, this would be the right way to do it. This is all Europe, though, so we need to find the North American equivalent. So yeah, if maybe one of our viewers can, if you're on a laptop, maybe you can have a quick search, or somebody can have a quick search and send Rosie the information. You can drop the link in the chats after the live chats are gone, or you can drop the link in now. But even after we're finished, if you can find a North American equivalent to Amnesty International on a website that actually opens, that would be most useful.
Oh, that's wonderful. There's a friend from New Zealand. She says she's going to write them a a letter or just talk about her life in New Zealand.
And I just posted the picture on Alberta Political Prisoners page. So it's right at the top of the page right now with the 4 guys. And it's got, because they're in 3 different remounds.
Okay, that's my next question.
And again, white paper, white envelope, no labels, no stickers, blue or black ink, no gel pens. And you have to have your return address on the envelope for these letters. No cards, because cards will not get through to Lethbridge.
Okay, so let's do this. So there's a lot of, if you could, I'm going to share the link for. I know I showed the website, but let me just share the link for your group. And what we can do, if people that are watching, yeah, you can do some sort of a letter watching campaign, letter writing campaign. But there are, by the sounds of it, strict rules you need to follow. So go to this link, and I'm sure Granny Margaret MacKay will post the conditions up and pin it to the top for you.
Once I get off here, I'll write them there again. I'm constantly saying that because, and then if you, unfortunately, they won't be able to write back internationally. They would have to mail me the letter, and then I would mail them to you. They can only mail letters within Canada. They are not allowed. They can't buy, they can buy the postage, but they won't allow them to write out of the country.
Yeah. I mean, if these letters are not so super personal, we could also help be a conduit in the middle and also read them out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like
if they give us permission, we could read the responses and read the
letters.
Read the letters sent to them, and then we'll read the responses.
The letters really been a lifeline for their mental health, because you can only imagine the struggles. So Chris Carbert, I'll show you. This is Chris here. He has the longest standing Bible study in Lethbridge Remand. Obviously the longest standing because he's been in there how long. But the Bible study, he's helped so many people. And in return, by him helping people, it's helped him. So beautiful man, like a really nice young man.
Yeah, that's definitely like, that's something, you know, if you're having a bad day, just do something nice for someone else. Well, and
there was a point he didn't want to come out of his cell, and that wasn't that long ago. It was just recent. You know, it's been hard losing his father and then losing his brother. And then he just wanted to stay in his cell. He didn't want to come out anymore. And I said, well, are you still doing your Bible study? He says, oh yeah, the men need me. And I said, and in turn, it helps him. So, you know, they're really, I cannot express how nice they are. Like they're all different in their own way, but they're all so kind, so sweet. Yeah. Like I said, I'm blessed.
Are these
those
an example?
Letters are the ones that Chris Carbert did not get to see. Yes, his mom picked those up. So all those letters did not make it. Chris will get to see them when he eventually gets out of jail. Isn't that sad?
Did the authorities give you the authority? Did they give you any reason that these didn't go through?
Could be cards, could be a sticker on it, could be a gel pen, could maybe not have a return address.
Well, you said like a white envelope.
Yeah,
white paper.
Yeah, I try to make it as generic as possible. And if you're from Canada and you want them to write you back, write the address within the body of the letter, because Lethbridge was tearing off the return addresses, so they couldn't write them back. Tony, he phones a lot of people, so write your phone number in the middle of the letters for the guys. You might get a phone call from them, and it's a 1866 number. So if you see a 1866 number come up, it could be one of the guys calling you.
Wow. Insane. Totally insane. So yeah. All of these letters, they didn't even get a chance to see. And you're not able to, you're not able to open them, or his mum's not able to open them, and then maybe rewrite them and then put them into I guess it's a lot of work, I guess.
But yeah, it's sad. Yeah.
All right, Rosie, we've hit our 1 hour mark, but
Yes.
wow, explosive.
Well, June 12th, we're asking people to come to Lethbridge Courthouse respectfully and peacefully and stand as public support for the 4 men. If you can't reach the Lethbridge Courthouse, maybe do something within your own community. A lady from British Columbia today had mentioned, well, maybe I'll do something. I think she was from Surrey. I think maybe I could do something here. And I thought, hey, that's a great idea. Do something within your own community at City Hall or something like that. Find some place where it's visible and that you're standing up for these 4 men.
Mm-hmm.
So, and let's pray something good happens on June 12th.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pray indeed. Pray indeed. Our thoughts are with their families.
Oh, Lord. There's loads of prayer circles across this country right now. A lot of people praying. Oh.
Well, sometimes when you get this desperate, you kind of feel like that's pretty much all you can do, just to keep your own sanity, because the injustice of it, it's enough to put your head through a wall.
Yeah.
But you got this righteous fire burning in your belly now, and that's a good feeling too.
Somebody has to, they don't have anybody, their families are tapped out. Their families are exhausted. Their families, I'm very protective of the families. I've become a barrier between people and them. They've been through heck and back. So I kind of shelter them a little bit too. I don't want to see anybody, they're just normal people. 3 of them are seniors. So,
So you're doing what a granny does best.
Yep, protect everybody. So, and again, I tell my children, my grandsons, I've got 8 and 10-year-old grandsons, and I tell them all about the men. They know what grandma does. They know they used to pray for grandma and the truckers when the convoy was on. It was so cute. Every night when they went to bed, they would pray, and they would say a prayer for grandma and the truckers. So, lead by example, because if not you, then who? And we're teaching the boys and teaching them who's running this country and what's happening, because the children need to understand what's taking place, because they're the future. And you need to protect them by educating them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Knowledge is power.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Absolutely. So on that note, I suppose we should wrap it up. Thank you very, very, very much.
Well, thank you for having me. And honestly, and I say this to everybody, thank you for caring. Just the caring part means so much. And I don't think people really understand, the caring and the sharing, and it's so important for your own heart to help others. So by people helping these 4 men, you're helping yourself. So thank you, you two.
You're so welcome. And thank you again, Jason. And for those of you who haven't subscribed to his channel, New Zealand - State of the Nation, he's got a YouTube channel too, and he's on Rumble now too. But so yeah, and then by all means, check out Alberta's Political Prisoners page on Facebook. Make sure you do that and you start to follow along and start sharing. Start sharing the message. Let's see if we can get it going all the way around the world and back again. And
yes.
Yeah, Big Dice here in the comments says they're lucky they got Granny. I couldn't agree more.
Well, thank you.
So
crazy. Well, you certainly, there's not much you can teach me in this world, but I got a lesson today. Yeah, I definitely got schooled today. That's for sure. About this insane situation. So I'd love to keep in touch with you and follow your process with Amnesty International. Actually, this is very important. You should follow this step. I think that it was right to suggest absolutely the greatest idea would be to bring in Amnesty International and raise the stakes.
I'll share it on that page. What's happening? I try to keep everybody engaged with what's going on. So if anything happens, it'll be on there.
Yeah, you run a really tight ship on your Facebook group. There's no sharing any. So, I mean, if you're following the group, don't even bother sharing something that doesn't have to do with the Coutts men.
No,
because
no.
it won't get through Granny's
No,
screen.
it won't get through. It won't get through. Got to stay focused. There's too many shiny objects out there. And I said, it's like drinking from a fire hose. And I'm sorry. If we all do something well, we'll get through this. But you can't have 38 things coming at you at once. Nothing's going to come good out of that. So you need to find something and stay focused. And it's not easy. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Right now,
that's right. It is not easy. There is a lot of stuff going on, and I find I as an admin myself, I battle with this all the time. So, but yeah, you've just got to be very determined to keep the content. If you got a free for all, you got a free for all. But if you got a specific goal, you've got to keep it pure.
And again, there's many rabbit holes out there, and there's a lot of stuff going on. But these are 4 flesh and blood Albertan men, 4 flesh and blood family men. And they're real, and we need to get them on the other side of the locked door. They have a right to defend themselves. So we'll get them there.
Canada, you need to know if you could post that into the comments too. He says he's got the Amnesty International address and phone number above. So if you could actually drop that when we're finished our live here, if you can put that in the comments. That'd be, or just send it to private message it to me, and I'll pass it on to Granny Margaret MacKay.
Thank you.
It didn't come through. I wonder if they posted it and it didn't come through.
I'm not sure, because I don't see it here. But we should wrap this up, Jason.
Yes, it's time.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, guys, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Granny MacKay.
All the best, and give our love.
I will. I'll tell them all about you guys when they call.
Yes, by all means do.
Okay.
And because when I think like having a family member at the Coutts Blockade, I mean, like you said, it could have been
anyone.
Could have been my brother, and that would have
very well could have been.
It makes me sick to my stomach to think of what those.
There was nothing special about these 4 men, and I'm not saying that to belittle them in any way, shape, or form. They're just 4 ordinary guys that got cherry picked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, understood.
All right. Thank you so much for being a guest, and looking forward to following you some more on Facebook. It's a really good group you've got going, and like I said, give our love to everyone there, and keep up the good fight. You're one heck of a general. So
the Highland blood from Scotland.
Oh, ain't it fiery?
Oh, okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Wow.
All right, Jason. Hey, quite an education.
I know. That's even more exciting than Billy Takahika's story.
So, do you think you could share this over, pass it on to Monica Smith then?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think it'd be nice, because you somehow actually got in touch with her, which blew my mind, because she was I was amazed to have her on our show last week. But because she mentioned she hadn't heard anything about this, so I think it'd be great for her to actually hear it straight from the granny's mouth. So
yeah, it'll be quite interesting to see how it plays out as well. I mean, the whole situation is just erroneous. Those guys are sitting in their remand area, and which is not built for long-term living, not at all. Not built for long-term living. There's just a temporary location. So, I can't imagine. And they don't have access to even a television, from what it sounds of it.
No, just three of them have crafting rooms.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Let's just go through the comments, shall we, before we roll out? Shall we do that?
Yep.
Okay, I'm just going to scroll up to the top and just take, first of all, shout outs to who's watching. Barb Ziegler, she was the first one on.
Yes. Hard
Place, I like the comment. I'll be watching. And then Hard Place says, I'll do the listening. Canada, you need to know is here.
That was when we were yep.
And Selena is ready. I'm ready. Yeah, we are ready. Musketeer Media. Musketeer Media. That's a new name.
Yeah, that's Chris Primo from the Maple Blazing Productions. He's got a YouTube channel too. But yeah, he's a good friend from Ontario.
Excellent.
Oh, there he is.
Excellent. Next one is Big Dice 11 or 11.
I think that was for your intro. You gave it an 11.
Oh, 11 out of 10. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, that was certainly oh, there you go. Nice intro. Yeah, there you go.
There's Terrence. Terrence
Yeah.
right there.
It's kind of like, you know, the thing with the intro is kind of like, you know, you're supposed to use, like, for example, let's say you have a car with auto. You know, you buy an automatic car and you just flip it into drive and then it just rolls away. But what happened was with the tools going down, it's kind of like I had to push the manual car, you know, and because it had no petrol, so I had to keep pushing it all the way to get it along. It was hilarious.
Yeah, you
So that was Big Dog.
You said whatever takes you, what usually takes you like 2 to 3 hours. It took you 24 hours to put that intro together without, basically the intro outro, because we're gonna play it at the end too, which I'm excited to see it again. I just love that it's the thing now.
Let's go anymore. So yeah, I like this comment. Big Dice says, ask a lawyer about the prosecutor. Are we wasting money? They know which prosecutors are on the take. Well, there you go. I mean, you have to look at the actual prosecution team as well. I mean, for sure. I mean, come on, man. These guys, I mean, they're up on a chopped up charge. Conspiracy to murder. Conspiracy to murder, and they've not even had their day in court. This no. This doesn't happen like that. This doesn't. It's a Canadian wash. That's what we say. Not whitewashing. It's a Canadian wash. They're Canadian washing the truth, and they showing them as an example because they don't want any more political protesting movements to rise up again. This is exactly what it's about. Let's have a look at what Big Dice says again. He's got another one here.
Plain as the nose on our face.
Yeah. If a politician signs the waiver to look at sensitive material, they cannot disclose what they've seen, so they've just censored themselves. Yeah. Well, once you sign a waiver, you're not. That's right. Let's go down to Canada. You need to know careful what you say about the C word. Okay, I won't even post that one.
We'll just call it the C word from now on. We know what we mean. Because we can say convoy, because that was the other C word too, but
yeah, any mention of convoy a year ago, oh my god, your whole channel was going to get shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's a nice comment from Canada. You need to know, not Canada. You need to know. What bothers me is when people say it won't do any good if you don't try it. We will for sure lose. Absolutely. And that's what the trolls are doing. That's what the trolls do. They try and install that negativity. They're like, oh, what a waste of time. And they sound so nice and like they're using their own common sense, but they're not using their common sense. If you don't try, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. Right. End of story. Yep. End of story. That's it.
Well, there's somebody was putting up the posters for the Coutts guys. They were putting it up like on bulletins, like in their grocery stores, you know, where they have like the common cork board, and they have all, you know, people put their business cards. But somebody had put one of those posters, and it just kept getting vandalized, kept getting ripped down, and graffiti written on it. And so yeah, but they're not stopping. Every single time they go into that store, they have a new one and they just replace it. So it's this childish back and forth now between whoever keeps vandalizing the poster.
The whole system is childish. Really, like what's going on with these governments is childish. Really. Big Dice says again, whistleblowers are financially ruined. That's why you don't see that. Wow, they're probably bribed. That's how it works in politics. They bribe you with something. Just to keep your mouth shut. That's how the whole system works. That's how these globalists can maintain their order. Bribery is the name of the game. At the same time, it's mutual bribery because they allow them to do it. Okay, so yeah, looking at that, Okay, more of the same. So that's pretty cool. Thank you guys for joining in. And to show that's the actual comments for now. It's quite late now, so we had better wrap it up.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Jason Benbridge. You are the co-host with the most.
The host with the most, and the hostess with the mostess.
That'd be me. But yeah, thank you, everybody. And yeah, don't forget to share this video and get the word out too. I think it was really nice having Granny Margaret MacKay on today. So if you can, you know, share it out, or go to her Facebook page and share that out like crazy. Let's get the word out in even more than it already is. I think it's very important. So on that note, hey, Rubber Ducky, I think it's time to keep on trucking. What do you say? Do you have the outro all queued up? Oh, you're muted. You're muted. Silly.
Uh-oh. I did it again. Oops, I did it again. Yeah, I totally agree. Yep. Let's get the show on the road. Well, off the road now. Yeah, let's get it off the road. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. And next week on Monday, we'll be hosting the We Are Ready live stream Heroes at the same time. 6 p.m.
Monday night.
PDT. Is it Pacific Daylight Time? PDT. 6 p.m. PDT. Pacific Daylight Time there in Canada. And 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. For other time zones, consult your search engine.
That's right. And make sure you subscribe to Jason's channel, New Zealand - State of the Nation. Go find him and give him a subscribe. Do you have the outro queued up? I want to see it again.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Are you ready for this?
Everyone. Good night, Barb. Good night, Big Dice.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Brian, for being here. I sure love this intro, outro.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Big Dice. Freedom.
Wow. What's happened here?
I give up. What's happened here? Is Jacinda finally?
Something bizarre. Let me reshare that. Let me remove that and re-add it in. So for some reason it's
finally have a show with no technical hiccups, and Jacinda manages to get in on the very
right at the end. Right at the dang end, I tell you. Right at the end, she just touched it, just like that. All right.
Got to get in there. All right. Yeah, I feel good. This was a good show, and the message is so important.
Hi, everybody.